Hello everyone, in this video we have a question from series. The variant is written in front of you. The source is paper 1, variant 3, winter 2017, question number 1. The question says, an arithmetic progression has a first term minus 12 and the common difference 6. The sum of their first n terms exceed 3000. Calculate the least possible value of n. Now what does the question says? The question says that you have the first term, you have the common difference, and it's an arithmetic progression. You have to find the nth term. You have to find the nth term जिसका अगर हम sum लें तो it should exceed 3000. The very basic language, in the very basic language, that's what I can say कि nth term हमें find करनी है जिसका अगर हम sum लें, the sum of the nth term, तो हमारे पास value 3000 से exceed करनी चाहिए. So the first step is that you write down all the data that is being provided in the question, and that is the first term minus 12, which is represented by A. Then you are given the common difference, which is represented by D, which is 6. And the third most important thing is the sum, is the formula for the sum of n terms. So the formula for the sum of n terms is also given in your MF19 formula sheet. तो आप वहाँ से भी देख सकते हैं, which is n upon 2 multiply by 2a plus n minus 1 into d. So this is the formula for the sum of n terms. So using this formula, you are supposed to calculate the nth term so that your sum exceeds 3000. कुछ भी नहीं करना. We are going to simply plug in all the values and we will try finding the value for n. So let's start. हमने क्या किया, हमने n ले लिया that we are supposed to find and multiply by 2. A हमारे पास minus का 12 है. Then we have plus n हमें find करना है, n minus 1 into d is 6 and it should exceed 3000. So this is basically an inequality which is being made. अच्छा, उसके बाद हम क्या करेंगे, n upon 2 we are going to simplify the inequality that is being created, minus 24 plus n minus 1 into 6. We should basically multiply it so we can save steps. This is going to be 6n minus 6, 6n minus 6 external bracket greater than 3000. Am I right? So n upon 2 multiply by minus 24 plus 6n minus 6 greater than 3000. Now in the next step, the 2 is being divided on this side, हम उसको वहाँ जाके multiply कर देंगे. So this turns out to be n multiplied by, inside of the bracket we have minus 24 minus 6. This turns out to be minus 30 plus 6n and हमने वहाँ पर जाके 2 multiply कर दिया था, तो this turns out to be 6000. Then we have in the next step हम bracket open कर देंगे. So this turns out to be 6n square minus 30n और इस साइड में मैं शिफ्ट कर दूंगा 6000 को. So we are going to shift 6000 to this side of the inequality and this turns out to be minus 6000 greater than 0. Now notice that this is something very similar that we have seen in the first chapter of paper 1, and that is quadratic inequality. I hope you must have seen it before. Quadratic inequality. Quadratic inequality. So a very basic method to solve this quadratic inequality is either a quadratic formula or middle term break formula, middle term factorization. So in this case हम यहाँ पर लेंगे quadratic formula since we have a very big constant which is 6000. But before that मैं यहाँ पे एक चीज़ करूँगा which is taking common. I can see that 6 is common in this equation, तो मैं यहाँ पे 6 common ले लूँगा which is n square minus का 5n minus 1000 greater than 0. So I hope this makes our life easier. इसके बाद मैं क्या करूँगा, I'm simply going to put the quadratic formula. If you don't remember the quadratic formula is minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. And we always know that जो चीज़ भी हम यहाँ पर put कर रहे होते हैं, it is being calculated for the variable that is being presented in the quadratic formula. In this case we have n, तो यहाँ पर क्या होगा n which is greater than this whole thing. सही है. तो हम क्या करेंगे, क्वाड्रेटिक फार्मूला के अंदर पुट कर देंगे. बाय द वे, इफ़ यू डोंट रिमेंबर दिस फार्मूला इज ऑल्सो प्रेजेंटेड इन इज ऑल्सो अवेलेबल इन MF19 फार्मूला शीट. ठीक है, एंड MF19 फार्मूला शीट इज ऑलवेज अवेलेबल व्हेन यू आर डूइंग योर एग्जाम. तो लेट्स प्लग इन द वैल्यूज़. हम क्या करते हैं यहाँ पे, n इज ग्रेटर देन minus b, which is -5, then we have plus minus, then we have under root, and then we have minus b square minus 4, we have 1, we'll have 1000 minus 1000, sorry, minus 1000 sc upon we have 2a, which is 1. Let me tell you one thing, that you can solve this quadratic equation directly into the formula, into the calculator as well. कैलकुलेटर के अंदर एक ऑप्शन होता है मोड के अंदर जाकर, वेयर यू कैन सिंपली कैलकुलेट द क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन, द पॉलिनोमियल्स, बाय द हेल्प ऑफ यूजिंग द कैलकुलेटर. सो देयर इज़ नो नीड टू डू सच वर्किंग. मैं तो आपको शो करने के लिए दिखा रहा हूँ. द एग्जामिनर डजंट रिक्वायर दिस टाइप ऑफ वर्किंग बिकॉज इट्स ऑफ हाउ मच मार्क्स, 4 marks. नो, it is required. It is required in this case since the examiner is awarding you 4 marks. But in case if the examiner was only asking you the value of n and it was awarding you only 2 marks, तो उसके अंदर you can do this directly by the help of calculator. But in this case you have to show this working. I'm sorry, I've suggested a wrong method. You are not supposed to use the calculator directly to find the quadratic answers. So in this case, let's move forward. We have 5 plus minus under root, and then we have 25 plus 4000 upon 2. So you just put in the values directly into the calculator and you will end up getting some values like, let me calculate. If I put all these values in the calculator, I'll get one value, which is n is greater than 34.22, and my other value is n is greater than minus 29.22, minus 29.22. Now notice that you have a negative value in your answer. You are simply going to reject the negative value. Why? Because your nth term can never be negative. Nth term can never be negative. So can never be negative. So you are going to reject the negative answer and you are only left with one answer, which is n is greater than 34.22. So whenever you end up with such answer, n is greater than 34.22, which means that any available next number, any available next whole number is your answer. In this case 34.22 के बाद जो next available whole number है, it's 35, which means 35 is your answer. So your n is equal to 35. So now if you want to verify your answer, that whether your answer was correct or not, what you are going to do is, आप पीछे चले जाएं वापस, and directly in this formula here you are going to put in the values. हमारे पास n क्या है, 35. So in this case we are going to put 35 divided by 2 multiply by 2 minus 12 plus n minus 1, which is 35 minus 1 is 34, and you are going to multiply it with 6. So you must get an answer, you must get the sum which should be greater than 3000. So let's calculate and let's see whether we are getting the same answer or not. So let me put in the values in the calculator and let's see what we get. 2 multiplied by minus 12, 2 multiplied by minus 12 and plus 34. Yes, so after calculating I'm getting 3150. So you see that this value is greater than 3000, and that is what was required in the question. So if you are confused, you can directly put in the value 34 as well and verify for yourself that whether you are getting the sum which is greater than 3000 or whether it is less than 3000. So that's all for this question. I hope it's clear.